Another year has passed. Another film year has passed. So, let's talk about the best movies of 2023. Hello everyone, welcome back to another top 10 list by J Mera. And this time I'm gonna talk about the best movies of 2023. The year is almost over, so it's a good time to talk about my personal favorite movies of this past year. And I hope you all had some great time during the holidays. Maybe you're still enjoying them. Maybe you have spent some time with friends and family. Maybe you have watched some movies. For me, this is always a very busy period. I have some long working days, so I am tired. Maybe I'm looking a bit tired. But still, I really want to give you my favorite movies of the year video before the year ended. So I really want to share my favorite movies with you. And 2023, for me personally, is not particularly a good year. I enjoyed it. For the most part, but it's definitely not my favorite movie year. There are some good movies that I enjoyed, some great ones. Not a lot, but there are some great ones. Also, there were plenty of movies that I really thought they were gonna make my list, my top 10. But when I saw the movie, they really didn't do it for me. Or I still think they are good, but not great. So there were plenty of movies of that. We also have some great directors that have released a movie this year, like Christopher Nolan, Ridley Scott, Martin Scorsese. Even Zack Snyder had a new movie this year, and Michael Mann came back after many years with a new film. But most of their films, some of them I really acknowledge as good movies, but they were not really my thing, so they didn't end up in this list either. There is one director who actually made two movies this year that I really thought were really good movies. You're gonna see those two movies on my list soon. I'm not gonna tell you what the director is. Maybe you already know, because I believe there is only one famous director that made two movies this year, but anyhow. So 2023 in general is not really my favorite movie year. But still, plenty of good movies. So through the year was not always easy to find 10 good movies to make a top 10. But I did manage. I can give you a top 10 with 5 honorable mentions. And like always, I usually select these movies based on did they do something for me? Did they stay with me for a long time? Have I a desire to rewatch them many times? So these are a bit of the criteria that I select these movies for a top 10. Usually the feeling and the rewatchability are the biggest two. So, let's start with it. Let's start with my 5 honorable mentions, and these are movies that just couldn't make my top 10. Yeah, but I still really enjoyed them. And we're gonna start with a movie that actually appears on many of the top 10 worst lists of 2023. And I get it, but I really enjoyed this movie. And that's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Yes, I do not really see this as a bad movie. I don't really think most people think it is a bad movie, just a big disappointment for many people. And I get it. Story-wise, there are some really weird choices. I don't really like the character of the goddaughter. She was really annoying. Not everything worked in this movie. But in general, I really had a good time with this Indiana Jones movie, and I was just very glad that I had another Indiana Jones movie. And I don't think it's that bad like people are saying it is. Just glad I have a new Indiana Jones movie. It's not the perfect one, but it's still enjoyable enough. My second honorable mention is an alien movie with Caitlin Dever, and that's No One Will Save You. And Caitlin Dever is my favorite actress nowadays, and I always wanted to see her in a horror-ish movie. and I got her in an Alien movie, so my wish came true, and the movie is actually a fantastic Alien movie. Not the biggest fan of the ending, but I really love this movie. Moving on to my next honorable mention is The Boogeyman. And The Boogeyman is probably not a movie that most people are going to talk about or remember, because it's a kinda generic, cliched horror movie. But this is a horror movie really up my alley, and I really liked The Boogeyman for what it is. This is my kind of horror movie, and I think it was pretty good made. It's maybe cliched, but if cliched is done good, it still can be a good movie. My next honorable mention is The Covenant by Guy Ritchie, and this is the director I was talking about. His other movie from this year will be in the top 10. But The Covenant, different kind of Guy Ritchie movie, more serious approach, more serious story you want to tell, with a very effective story about these two soldiers. We have a sergeant, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and then we have the interpreter. And during this war, both men basically have to save each other in different situations, and it's just a beautiful story that makes a very good movie. And my last honorable mention, a movie that just couldn't make the top 10, a movie that most people are talking about now this past month. It's a really popular movie now, and that is Godzilla Minus One. This is my second favorite Godzilla movie ever. Everything that this movie did was actually perfection. A very enjoyable movie, very enjoyable monster movie, and it's a great movie, and I never thought it was going to be this great. So these are my honorable mentions, and now we go to my top 10. And we start the top 10 with a horror movie, and that's Thanksgiving. Yes, Thanksgiving. I'm so glad there is this good old-fashioned slasher movie, and this slasher movie really delivers. It's a very gory slasher. We have an iconic killer. There are very memorable kills. Thanksgiving, maybe not the best villain movie or the best acted movie, but it's a very entertaining slasher movie, and that's what I really wanted to see in this movie, and it delivered. And I really hope that the sequels, because I really think there are going to be more than one sequel, deliver as well, because this can easily become an iconic slasher franchise. At number 9 we have Past Lives. Very different genre now than the previous one, but Past Lives is a very beautiful and heartwarming romantic drama about these two friends from the past when they were 10-year-olds, and they are coming back together when they are adults, and it's just so beautiful movie to see these two characters interact with each other after all those years. It's definitely one of the more realistic movies I have seen, and it's definitely the most beautiful movie I have seen story-wise. It's just also very melancholic. It really lets you think about the lives you didn't live but could have lived, and that's beautiful. At number 8 we have a movie that I didn't really thought that was gonna make my top 10 when I first saw it, and that's John Wick Chapter 1. For the ones who have seen my review, I was not really that positive. I liked it, but I think the movie is way too long and the action scenes are very exhausting. But the movie through the whole year sticks with me. There are many moments that I had to think back on this movie, on certain action scenes or set designs or characters, so the movie really sticks with you, and that's why I should give an 8th position in my top 10. And this is the final John Wick movie, at least I hope it is, and it's actually a perfect conclusion. Speaking about action, number 7 we have Operation Fortune, and this is that other Guy Ritchie movie. And this is a bit strange because this movie was released very early in the year, I believe the end of January, without any marketing, or they just released it like they dumped it, and here you go. And it really made me think, okay, this is gonna be a shitty movie. But then I saw the movie and actually, this is a great movie. This is a very entertaining movie. It's a very fun action spy movie. Love the action scenes, there are plenty of action scenes in it. Love the characters, I love the story, I love this whole spy story. So yeah, it's actually one of my favorite Guy Ritchie movies and definitely one of my favorite movies this year. At number 6, we have my favorite horror movie of this year, and that is Evil Dead Rise. And I love this movie. This is by far my favorite Evil Dead movie. I just really love this movie. Maybe it's because of this whole new setting. It's not longer on a cabin in the woods, but on a high-rise, and that's very cool to see. Like that they focused on this family. I really like that they didn't shy away from blood, violence and gore, so it really delivers on that. And this Evil Dead movie is just fantastic. I really had a good time, and it's definitely the best opening scene of this year. So it's well deserving of a 6th place. At number 5, we have also a movie that was released very early this year, and that's Air, the movie directed by Ben Affleck. It's a bit of a movie that probably will be forgotten or will stay under the radar, and that will be a shame because Air is fantastic. It's a dialogue heavy movie about basically the design of the shoe for Michael Jordan. That's your movie. It sounds boring, but it isn't boring at all. It's actually very interesting. It's very, through this dialogue they really have excitement, and that's fantastic. And Matt Damon, also great performance in this movie. This movie is just one of the best of this year. At number 4, we have a kind of similar movie as number 5, and that's Dumb Money. Dumb Money is also a dialogue heavy movie about a true event, but more humoristically broad. And this is about a YouTuber that found a really good stock, and he invested in it, and he started this whole phenomenon while other people are investing in that stock as well. And that's actually a very interesting movie to see. It's really focusing on all these characters and how they are dealing or coping with this phenomenon. And I saw this movie at an early screening. Well, I mean early as in like a show in the morning. It was 10 in the morning. And I saw this, didn't know what to expect it, and I was very entertained by it. Very much enjoyed this movie. A very enjoyable movie. And I really have a desire to rewatch this movie many times. So we are at the top 3, my 3 favorite movies of this year. And at number 3, we kinda have an underrated movie, or a movie that stayed under the radar. Don't really hear many people talking about this movie, and that's Darkman. And I love Darkman. I think this is a brilliant movie. It's a movie directed by Luc Besson, and it really focuses on this character. This character is broken, he's a really dog lover, he has a special gift with dogs. And this is a character study on that character. And this is one of the more fascinating characters I have seen this year. And it makes one entertaining movie. It's not really an action movie. It's a bit of everything. It has many layers, many different things they focus on, but it's a well-structured movie and it's very fascinating. It's really a movie to my likings. So at number 2, we have a movie for one of my favorite film franchises, and that's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, or MI7 if you are really into the abbreviations. Yes, Mission Impossible, I love all these movies. I really love the movies by Christopher McQuarrie, really loving what the guy is doing with this franchise, and Dead Reckoning Part 1 is another success. Maybe not the best Mission Impossible movie, but definitely one of the more entertaining chapters in this franchise. It's also just the first part of a story, but it didn't really feel like a first part. I think it's a pretty good movie. and it's a pretty long movie, but it doesn't feel like that. Like when the movie was over, I thought, is it already over? So I was really entertained. I really loved basically every scene. Maybe not fan of the IA aspect of the story. I have to see part 2 to really know where they are going with the story, referring the IA. But all in all, one of the best movies of the year. I love Death Reckoning Part 1. It's a movie that I'm gonna watch over and over again. Okay, one more movie to go. My favorite movie of 2023. And as soon as I saw this movie back in May, I already knew this is gonna be the best movie of the year. There is always a chance that another movie can top it, but that movie didn't came. So my favorite movie of 2023 is SpiderMan Across the Spider-Verse. Man, this movie is super awesome. I love this movie. It is really strange because I'm not the biggest fan of the first movie, Into the Spider-Verse. I think it was an okay animated superhero movie. Gave me a good time, but what part 2 did was really awesome. There are so many layers or stories in this movie, and everything is so well done, so awesome, and the one thing has an effect on another, and everything is so awesome in this movie. And also, there is this twist in this movie, and I think this is just one of the most intelligent things I have seen to do in a Spider-Man movie. And I am a big Spider-Man movie, and this movie really makes me happy as a Spider-Man fan. Also, I love these characters, all the emotions the characters have. Yeah, I'm very happy with this movie. This movie makes me happy. So that's why it has to be my number one. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is an awesome movie. And in a year that superhero movies are really exhausting, there is still a superhero movie that managed to be my number one. But I'm not against superhero movies. I think there are just too many of them. But a good superhero movie can be perfect. And that is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. My favorite movie of 2023. So these were my favorite movies of this year. I hope you enjoyed my list. I hope you enjoyed me talking about these movies. Always be free to comment with your favorite movies of this year. Are there any surprising movies that you really like and other people not really? Let me know. Would love to know what your favorites are. And this was my last video that I did this year. But next year I will be back with more videos. So if you want to see more of me next year, always be free to subscribe to my channel. And I will be back after a little break. So all I can say to you is Happy New Year and till next year.